Better? Is it? Yeah, it's through my headset. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I think this is better.
Yeah.
It's so funny. The thing is, I have two screens, so sometimes I look up, but I won't do it through the interview.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at you. Okay.
That's all good. That's all good. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace and love and hello. Welcome to another episode of Buckle Up. And man, oh man, obviously with the lockdown situation taking place for the past kind of 3 months right now, I didn't want to stop Buckle Up. And usually I have my guest in the car and we're cruising in the streets of Dubai. But I wanted to kind of, keep going. And I, with the social distancing, I couldn't have, the guest with me. But so we've been doing this lockdown editions and it's been really going really well. And shout out to everybody that's tuned in and supported and showed love. And when your life hits you with people that impact you in ways that they don't even know, this is my guest for today. We've met actually on a shoot that really was, I would say the word monumental to me. There's a lot of people that got to know my story through like a 1 minute kind of segment. We are talking about an amazing, human. We're talking about an amazing content creator. We're talking about somebody and a person that believes that a person's work is a representation of one's true beliefs. We are talking about Maha Musa, aka Maha Creates. Make some noise. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam. I'm so blessed, Amjad, to have met you, and I'm so happy to be here today. Amjad, you have no idea.
Bless you. Wallahi, bless you, sis. I think it's the feeling is mutual. We want to get to know you more. We have some questions from the audience, obviously that we leave at the end. But Maha, before picking up a camera, I want to know the human Maha. I want to try to get to know you. So you were born and raised in Lebanon. Shout out to Lana. You're Palestinian, right?
Yes, I hold pride that I'm Palestinian.
Bless.
Yes.
Of course, shout out to Palestine. Always. Born and raised
Definitely.
in Lebanon, though. Moved to Dubai. I want to know when did you actually move to Dubai, and how did your love and passion for content creating came about?
So I moved to Lebanon when I was 10 years. I moved to Dubai when I was 10 years old, and I'll be honest, it wasn't the easiest thing because I've built a lot of memories. Like Lebanon was my childhood place, like Saida in Lebanon. So it was so difficult to come to Dubai and specifically to Sharjah, it's UAE. So to come to Sharjah, and then it's a whole different environment, a whole different culture. Everything
Did you get a
different.
Culture shock when you kind of moved in?
Yes, I wanted to tell you right now. I got a cultural shock because it's completely different than what I was raised in, and I was so like how am I gonna fit in with all these people? And I came here. It wasn't the first semester in school. It was the second semester of school. So everyone already fit in. So it was really even harder for me to fit in. And I remember, it's so funny. I remember the first day, I kind of got bullied actually because they didn't accept the fact that I'm new. So I came to class, and then the girls came to me. They're like, "This is our classroom. You're not a part of this. Go to the other classroom. We don't want you here." And I'm so tiny and I'm so scared,
Oh, bless.
And I'm like.
Well, look at them right now.
Yeah.
Whereas, but.
I became really good friends with some of them. It's funny, but it's just a phase, I guess. But it was very difficult. So I came here and I was in school. So how I came to love content, it was really in university. So basically I didn't know anything about filmmaking. I didn't know anything about photography. I've never held a camera in my life. So the last 3 years of university, of school, this is when you decide what you want to be and what you want to do. So I was very inspired by my brothers who are architects. So I was like, this is what I want to be. You know what? I want to be the next Zaha Hadid, and I can do it.
Wow.
I felt like
Shout
I
out
have
to
that.
The brothers. Rest in peace, Hadid, legend, of course.
Yeah, she's a legend. Yeah, so I'm like, this is what I want to be, and this is what I want to do. And as a kid, like, you don't realize how difficult it is for your parents to afford education. So at that point, I didn't know that we are in a financial crisis. So once I figured out and it hit me, I was in grade 11. I was like, okay, I need to study. Literally, that's what I need to do. To be able to get a proper education, because for some reason I kind of believe that I deserve it. Like I knew like I deserve a proper education.
And nice.
Yeah, and I wanted that, so I started studying day and night every single day, that like last 3 years. So and then I heard about
in those 3 years, were you still not aware of what you want to do? Were you still focused on architecting?
Yeah. Architecture. Yeah, I was, and I thought that I will be able to get a scholarship in architecture, but it was super difficult. And it's not, you know what? It's not just about the scholarship. You need to think about so many other things. You need to think about the material you want to get, you know, to afford to go to university. All of that, I really couldn't afford. And so I heard about the scholarship for Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid School of Communication, and it wasn't my passion. Like, I didn't know that I like filmmaking. I didn't know what it is. I'm like, okay, it's a full scholarship.
Wow.
Let's go. Let's go. I heard it from a friend. She also got it too. So I'm like, you know what? I'll apply and see how it goes. But the thing is about that time of my life, for me, you know, like it was very difficult to be raised as a girl, and I don't want to be like very, you know, dramatic, but it's true. You know, it was really, really difficult for me to be raised in a very conservative and protective environment. So for me, education wasn't just about, you know, studying or being someone one day. It was for me a little bit about survival and being able to have a voice, you know.
Liberating.
Because I was raised, yeah, exactly. Because I was raised in and I'm sure a lot of girls would relate, you know, the guy can do it, the girl can't.
Oh, yeah.
And
this is something that we battle, you know, across, I think, especially in the Arab region. Me coming from Saudi Arabia, I've seen that happen to my cousins and my direct cousins and relatives and good friends. Seen it. You know, definitely don't wish this to happen to anyone. But I think I don't know if it's a cultural thing or if it's an ignorance thing. I'll be honest with you, but that's a different kind of topic. But how were you able to kind of surpass that, if you don't mind me kind of pushing that?
Yeah,
like when you were living,
for sure.
You know, and you talk about education, you talk about reading, you love reading a lot.
My brother got me my first book. I never thought that I'm smart or I could be able to get good grades, but once it hit me and I'm like, education is the key for the whole, you know, equation of me being free. So my brother got me a book. It's called The Alchemist, and I read one line and it changed my entire life.
What was it?
It said, when you want something in life, the whole world will conspire to help you achieve it.
Ya Allah.
The whole universe will help you. And then at that point, I thought the universe will be with me, you know, it will help me. And then as I grew older, I'm like, the world will conspire with me and against me. So many bad things will happen, but it's only to lead you to your goal and to what you want to do in life. So that really, really inspired me. And one more thing, like that helped me really get through that phase of my life. Like it was 3 years of the last 3 years of school where, you know, like even going out wasn't really allowed, and no one understood that. Like my friends had families that, you know, were very open-minded and they weren't as protective as mine. So it's really hard to even explain. Like I was embarrassed, you know, to even tell them that I can't go out with you, you know?
Yeah, look, I actually totally understand, totally feel, and I feel, it's something that, you know, you don't want to wish on anyone really, like in terms of like that. And it's hard to explain to people who have had, who don't even, you know, never the idea crossed their mind. So
exactly, it was very difficult. And the one of the main things that got me through that phase, and by the way, because like honestly, no one, like I don't talk about this to anyone because
thank you so much
it was a phase of my life.
Thank you so much for blessing me with that. And I think a lot of people are going to find this very helpful, and it takes a lot of courage. I hope it
inspires someone.
It already
I hope it inspires.
We're less than 5 minutes already, and you've already inspired. You know? But what you were saying, you were saying something that got you through it. Would you say is like reading?
Yeah. Reading was one, and dreaming was something else. Like I used to wake up before school, and now I think about it, like it really helps me in the creative side of filmmaking that I dream. I'm a dreamer. So I wake up before school 1 hour, and no one knows this as well. So I wake up and then I walk in my room, like back and forth, and start imagining a life. You know, I imagined a life that I'm living now, right now. maybe even what I'm living now, alhamdulillah, is much better than what I imagined. But I imagined that life where I'm free, where I can create, like do what I want to do. At that point, I wanted to be an architect. I didn't know yet what I want to be, but dreaming really helped me out. You know, like I had hope. You know, like to survive. Like I had hope.
Because we hear a lot about that. Like I personally hear a lot about people like dream, but I never really met somebody like now you are actually saying that really dreaming helped you. Like it actually, in what way though? Like what were you when you wake up like an hour before school and you kind of walk? What is it? What is it that you dream about? You dream about,
Yeah, I dreamed about like silly things like going to university, being able to go out with friends. Like, man, like for a kid, this is normal. For me, it was like, I imagined that like I'm doing my master's. I imagined that I'm living alone. I imagined that, I'm able to do sports. Like I'm able to do things that I like. It's so silly, but even in college, like my dad wasn't so with me going to a basketball team and spending more hours after school. Like that's how protective I can say that it was. So all of these little details that maybe for someone it's like a regular day, but for me it was like life,
But subhanallah, fam, again, this is my personal opinion. God doesn't give you something you can't handle, and I think there's a lot of push about that, and there's a lot of I think testing about that, but it's a testament of how, mashallah, wow, dreaming, waking up an hour before, just walking in, people would say, hey, why is she doing that? Well, it got her through. And I think it doesn't matter what you do. And I thank you so much for actually addressing this. Okay, so mashallah, so when did you realize that architect is not a possibility? Obviously, when you know that, okay, diving in it is going to be a bit costly, and this is when you applied for that scholarship for content making.
Yeah. So, I figured out that I'm not going to be able to afford it. Even the scholarships available for architecture weren't a full scholarship. It was like a 50%. So I'm like, ain't going to work. And then I found this, I applied to 2 universities at that time, and I had like two hits. And I got accepted in both scholarships,
really?
But one was more than the other. Yeah, I got accepted in another one, but it was media as well. And then for me, it was that one focus for me, that was the scholarship. So even when I had the interview for the scholarship, I was like bluffing most of the time, like this is my dream, this is what I want to be, and this is what I want to be. But one thing I did not lie about, which I remember very much, like he told me, why do you want to enter this major? And I told him I want to create a change. I'm like, I want to change the world. Okay, this is what I want to do. Now I realize I can't change the world, but at that time I told him media is
a lot of people might disagree with that, fam, because I think it doesn't matter really. I see what you're saying though. We all say that, but if we all said that, we're not going to be doing things to be. I do think that you are already changing perceptions, inspiring people, changing the world in whatever way, and we'll talk about that.
Yeah, exactly. It's not just changing the world. For me, as I grew older, I realized that I want to change my world, my environment, the people that are, how I can. I don't want to. You want to dream big, and it doesn't happen. So I narrowed down the changing the world. And I told him,
did that interview for the scholarship, and you said all these things, did you know then at that spot that you got it, or you had to leave and then you got a letter afterwards, or?
Yeah. No, I didn't know. I actually called my sister. I told her, listen, I did really bad. I'm not going to get accepted. And that was kind of my only shot, I'm like, I'm not going to get accepted. I don't know. I felt like I did bad. But then when I got the results and they told me that I got accepted, they said that I got the highest, grades in the interview. I'm like, what? Ali Jabir probably doesn't remember me.
Shout out to Ali Jabir, but I'm sure he does.
I hope so.
I think it's a matter of, it's interesting you say that, because you keep saying it in terms of like when you talked about it, you were just saying that, I like content creating, but deep inside you didn't at that point. But
I
but then
didn't. I
you
didn't
got it.
understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it because it was in terms of a lot of elements. Like even with having a very difficult, childhood and a very difficult teenagehood in school, I was like the president of the drama club. I was, acting in plays. I was singing in plays. Like I was doing so many things, and
You
that
gotta
really
watch her
helped
sing, you
me.
guys. That's a talent I like. I like Maha sings. This is another. This is another account. Maha sings. Maha creates.
Yeah. Imagine. Maybe I should do it. So yeah, when I didn't know my love for filmmaking at that point. I didn't even know what filmmaking is and what the whole field is. But then I entered, and the journey begins.
I think the journey begins with you with this. Is it a cinema class?
Yeah.
Cinema class. Tell us about that. So obviously you got this news, and it was like, oh wow, there's a door right now for me to make noise, to become free. It is actually content creating, filmmaking. Oh my God, okay. And you went to this class. Tell us about that first day. What happened?
So my first class, it was with my professor Roosevelt. Shout out to him. I love him so much. So we had this class where we were all sitting in a circle, and he told us, each one of you share like one picture that you took with your phone that you really like, that you think is good.
So
everyone,
wow. What a cool.
Yeah, just like that.
Yeah, okay.
And then I'm like, okay, I'm looking at my phone. I find this picture I took in Lebanon during summer. So I showed it to him, and he's like, why did you shoot it in that angle? Why did you put them on the rule of third? I had no idea what rule of third is. And I'm like, okay. I told him I was just parked there, and I took the picture. And then he just looked at me. He's like, if you're not passionate, leave the class. And I'm like, oh, I'm busted. I thought that I'm busted. I'm like, because they're going to figure out that I'm not passionate, that this thing is not my thing. And I freaked out. I really freaked out. And I said nothing to him. I couldn't say anything. But because I'm sure he has been through a lot of times where a lot of students come in and they're not passionate, and then they end up in the wrong major. So he was right, kind of. And then we had an assignment for next class.
Man.
It was about taking 3 pictures.
Okay.
I don't know even how to use the camera. Like I didn't even. This was the first time I used a camera in my life. So I took the camera out, and with my friend we went out to shoot. Yeah, tell me.
It was. You were told to shoot random people. Just this was the task. Okay.
Yeah, it was the task to shoot 1 wide shot, 1 medium, and 1 close up. Okay. That was the mission. I went on the mission, no idea how to use the camera. I spent like hours trying to figure it out. And I started shooting, random photos. And this is, I think, where my love for street art and street photography came into place. So I started taking pictures here and there. I took like a billion pictures. And then as I'm going back to my house in the metro, I was just like looking at the pictures, and I'm like, whoa, like, wow, I'm good.
Okay.
I just realized like these are good pictures. And I fell in love. This was like, when you fall in love, in the first sight, like it's that feeling. And I fell in love with the craft. And next day I went to class to show, my pictures. And when he was presenting my pictures, he spent like 20 minutes just describing my photos. What? Like, look at the lighting, look at the shadows,
Can we see the photos later on? Can you send them? We'll put them right here.
Like, for sure. Okay, cool. I have them for sure.
As we're talking about this, we're actually seeing the photos. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I know, like for me now, the photos are okay-ish, but at that point, for the first time ever, and then during class, he's like, Ma, just stay after class. When he was done with my photos, like, just stay after class, let's talk. I'm like, okay, what does he want? And I stayed, and then he told me, you should go buy a camera and never leave it.
Ya Allah.
I'm like,
I want to thank this guy. Like, this is crazy because if I might just say something here, there's some people with power, whether it's parents, teachers, coaches, they can simply, and I say this all the time and I get blamed, they can extinguish a fire of somebody easily. The word is powerful. Some people can do that. And it's amazing that he didn't. And he saw fire, he saw something, he saw hunger, he saw something. And I think that's, big up to that. I think that's very, very important. Okay, my people, we're back. So I was saying to Maha, I think some people have very, very big power, in terms of whether it's parents, teachers, coaches, and their words sometimes can extinguish a fire of a hunger of somebody. Like, you know, your word means a lot. You never know who's listening. You never know who's talking. If you have an impact on somebody, and like I said, so big up to him for actually maybe seeing a passion, seeing a hunger, seeing something. We all know the famous story of Michael Jordan. He was, you know, his coach, his high school coach, told him, sit down, like you can't play. Michael Jordan is one of the best people to pick up a basketball. And, you know, so I think it's just I salute these people because, you know, maybe, I don't know, just quickly, knowing your life right now, if you haven't gone out to that, you know, to that task, taking those pictures, fall in love with these, would you have continued in this path, you think? Or maybe something else would have happened?
Oh, I have no idea. I think, wow, such a good question. The thing is, I think maybe I wouldn't have been, you know, Maha Creates, but maybe I would have been more, you know, still into film. Like, because you know, studying filmmaking, I fell in love with the craft. I fell in love with storytelling, with writing script.
You're so good. You know, you're so good at writing and the caption that you take. Okay, so mashallah, I mean, Professor told you, you got to go buy a camera. You have to do this. What was your reaction after this, after he spent so much of the class talking about, you know, the pictures that you've taken?
I was blushing. I was so like, the thing is, I don't like people talking about me, even when I'm sitting. Like, it makes me so embarrassed. Whatever it is, I blush. So I was like, oh, yeah, I can't. So after class, I'm like, okay, he wants me to buy a camera, but I'm broke. I barely have literally the money, like the cash they give me, my allowance till the end of the month, you know? I don't know how I'm gonna survive. So I called my brother. I told him, bro, everyone's buying cameras. The girls are getting cameras. It's a part of the class. I need it. And then he's like, for sure, you know what? I'm going to support you in this. I'm going to get you a camera. Just pick one that is affordable because he's also trying to build himself. So he's an amazing person he is. He's the same one that got me the book. My brother that got me the book.
Wow, the Alchemist Paulo Coelho book. Okay, wow.
Yeah,
this is...
He made me fall in love with reading. So, again, you know,
it's crazy the impact that mashallah you know he had you know on you and how he's done it. What was the camera that you got? Because I know it's a special kind of name as well that I like.
So it's called the Rebel Series T6i.
I mean, that's fate, huh? Rebel, huh? Look at you.
Exactly, that's what I felt, you know, getting the camera. You know, the name is Rebel. I know it's a series that kind of had, but it felt like I'm a rebel, you know. I'm about to enter a war, and this is my weapon, and this is how I felt every single day going to uni with the camera. I was very proud of it, although it's small and I don't use it anymore. It's really bad. I mean, now.
Okay, that happened, but you were saying you were still going through financial difficulties. If you don't mind me asking, how were you able to? Because a lot of us sometimes talk about always the positives, which is great, but also there's negatives that make you the person who you are today. Exactly. So for me, I'm sure this was a very difficult, you know, moment of your life. We've all experienced it. Some of us experienced it more than others. For you, how were you able to? I mean, okay, you got the camera, you were doing the class, but I'm pretty sure you had a tough life as well, financially talking, and even your surroundings. How were you able? What did you do? What are the things that you do? Because I know that you started taking on gigs during studying.
Yeah, exactly. So what happened is that, as I said, like I barely had any money, and I used to count them like every single day. Like, you know, I want to go all the way from Ajman to my university, and you know, I'm living in AUD essentially, you know, being surrounded by AUD students, it wasn't so easy because they have a certain lifestyle and a certain, you know, level of living, and I wasn't that at all.
You saw that, you felt that the difference of levels.
Of course you do, and they make you feel that. I mean, but it's just the society and the environment, so it's okay. So what I did was I used to do at the beginning free photo shoots. That's how I started. Okay. I do, you know, a shoot for this person, for that person, you know, like, and I shoot every single day. I never really left the camera. So
suddenly you say every single day, really every single day?
Yeah, literally every single day ever since I bought it. It's like everyone knows me with the camera, you know. It was wrapped around my neck every single day. I hold it, and whatever I see, I shoot. Anything. I just practice like that. on people, on my friends. So I remember that one day my friend calls me. She's like, I have this girl that I know that wants to get engaged. Do you want to take this gig? I'm like, a gig? What do you mean? And she's like, you'll get paid for it. I'm like, really? I remember I charged her 500 dirhams. And that was the first gig ever. And I started, taking on gigs, showing people that I know how to do this. I started editing in agencies. And I don't know how they trusted me, but I was kind of cheap, like in terms of pricing, and I'm good, decent. And
I hear what you're saying, but I mean, you were just starting,
Yeah.
You got into gigs and you did a lot of, did you do a lot of engagements?
Yeah.
A lot?
Dealing with brides is the worst. They're very like Bridezillas, and
Okay.
they're going crazy on me, and I'm like, and I'm so nervous, it's my first time, and I want to, she's breaking down because of makeup, and I'm here, I want to take a picture. It was very difficult, so I don't want to do engagement ever. But khalas.
Yeah, Allah. Were you put in a situation one time? Maybe you can share with us like a story where you.
I don't.
I mean, at the same time, it's also somehow the union of two people, right? So it's a beautiful engagement.
Yes.
It's a beautiful
engagement.
Yeah, beautiful memory. But tell me, yeah.
But yeah, like so many times, it's not like I take pictures and they like them. Sometimes I would get in trouble because they don't like them.
Really?
And they maybe expected more. Sometimes they like them. Like sometimes, they see it, because I learned through the time, like don't send unedited pictures, edit and then send.
Okay.
So that
okay.
And like so many times, having those gigs and starting to work in agencies and stuff, it gets to sometime, like I stopped taking money from my parents and from anyone. This was the first goal for me. Like I want to be fully independent on myself. So I stopped taking money from anyone and counting on my gigs. Like so many times I get to a point where I don't even have money to go to the gig. Like I don't even have money to pay for a taxi.
Man.
And I'm like, how am I gonna go? But I'm gonna get paid there, so I need to find a way where I get paid, and take the taxi. It's crazy, and no one knows.
It's just very tough, fam. And again, you telling us this, I think it just shows the kind of person you are. It actually proves that, you're really passionate about this. And I think there's no, if I may say, I mean, there's no shame in all of this. I just think that everyone has a different kind of path of life. And, some people have this very maybe easy way to things. Maybe they have different things to worry about. And it's just, this was your thing. You wanted to get, liberated. You wanted to move. You wanted, these are the things that kind of, they were on your way as obstacles. But subhanAllah, I think that you were like, okay, let me remove this. And you did not, I don't like to use the word give up, but you did not. Were there moments, let's talk about this, because right now we're going through a pandemic. And this is a crazy, crazy time for all of us, especially creatives. Were there moments during this time where you're getting gigs, you're shooting, you felt like you can't continue, or like it's got really difficult, or there's always something that kind of pushed you?
Yeah, I'm sure I did have those moments, a lot of them, because I suffer from anxiety. So even before going on a shoot, I would be panicking. On the shoot, I'd be panicking. And the thing is, it's really about, that I started working when I was 18, like 19. Yeah. And I'm tired, like I did all of this and I went to gigs and I did that and I was under the sun and I did this shoot and this shoot and that shoot. Sometimes you get to a point where you're just so exhausted from the fight. You don't want to fight anymore. That's the thing. I feel like sometimes I just don't want to fight, because
you kept fighting, no?
Yeah, even till now, like, I'm still struggling. I want to do my master's. I can't afford it either. And I'm working here and there doing gigs I don't want to do just to follow that dream, because it didn't end, me graduating from school. And it was so difficult because it's a scholarship. So I have to maintain like a GPA.
Yeah.
So imagine I'm working, thinking about food the next day, and thinking about class and
dealing with your social environment, all these things.
It was very difficult, and most of the students, even the ones that got the scholarship, with me, studying, they didn't understand. Like, they weren't going through the same thing. Like, for me, working and studying at the same time was so difficult. Like, I would be in class editing for the agency. Like, I got a job in an agency in my last year. So I'd be editing, and then I'd be studying in the agency, and I'd be going to class, going to the agency. Like, every day it was like me going twice or like 3 times, going back and forth. Sometimes I break down, and then I call my sister. I tell her, I'm so tired, I can't do this anymore. And she tells me, you can. she's amazing. Like, she's the one that kind of helped me go through this without breaking down.
What's her name?
Wasn't Muna.
Shout out to Muna.
She kind of raised me, and
wow.
like a lot of who I am and the person I become is because of her and Ahmed, my siblings. Like, they really helped me out.
I mean, it's very, very beautiful you say that, and I think it's man, this is just crazy. And let me just say, while the time where you were kind of doing gigs, maybe some people are partying, going out, doing this, doing that, and you see this, and you say, oh, I wish I can maybe do this or do this, but you can't. So this stayed on all university years? You stayed the same?
Well, it stayed the same until my last year, where I was able to afford living in the university. So that was for me like, yay, finally, like I was making a lot of money, so which helped me a lot and helped me not commute back and forth, because on top of all of that, that wasn't easy. It was like sometimes a 2 hours ride in the metro, and then being stuck in traffic. That for me, I used to break down a lot from that ride. Like, it's so long. So in my last year, I started doing things I wanted to do, but still not as the same, because they started calling me like a workaholic. That's still, by the way, till now, my friends call me a workaholic.
A lot of people mentioned to me that too. Like, mashallah, she works extra hard. But I mean, workaholic is, define workaholic. What does it mean, workaholic to you? Are you, again, I think everyone takes it differently. Workaholic is somebody that doesn't do anything but work. Are you that?
No. I have a life. That's the thing. I don't share much on social media. Okay. And I got to a point where a lot of people tell me, why don't you do like that girl and this person and this girl, the girl and that person, where they go and show they're in a coffee shop and they're doing this and they're doing that. And I'm like, why? Like, why do I have to prove a point that I'm like, I have a life, So I really separate between the personal.
I love this. I just love what you just said. It's something I struggle with all day. Like, it's a problem. Social media does not really define like kind of who you are, but people take it this way, and it's I think it's a big, and it's so refreshing to see somebody like you, that young and passionate talking like that. So
it's crazy. So many people, that's why people think I'm a workaholic, because I don't show them that sometimes I go to the beach, sometimes I'm shopping, sometimes I'm with my friends. You don't have to know that. Like, I don't want you to know that. I'm in control with what content I show you. And there's this perception of, a way of living that social media puts for us, that we have to do, we have to be this, we have to be that, we have to have that car, this, we have to buy from this shop. And wallah, I swear to you, all of the things that I wasn't able to do, and now I am, mean nothing to me. I swear, nothing compared to me sitting at home and watching a movie.
Wow.
Once I was able to, be like, now I'm able to do whatever I want. Like, I can literally do whatever I want, but I choose to stay at home. Like, this is a choice. I love staying at home and being cozy and alone. I love being alone.
Yes, you have. I mean, guys, we've been on for 40 minutes. If you haven't fell in love with this person, then I don't know what you are. This is just, incredible. She's so humble, very talented. Okay, we spoke before. You said something about your first documentary, your first laptop. I just want to go kind of through that when you started to kind of take. Okay, so you started with the gigs, the high engagement gigs, and again, allow me to say that maybe these were all parts of your growth. You took pictures, and every time you took pictures, you even got better. But when did it feel, oh wow, right now, like you want to do documentaries and film festivals, and then the documentaries you've done? Take us through that part of your life.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, teachers have a very powerful, impact on us. And a lot of, my passion is literally transmitted through my teachers to me. Because when I see someone so passionate about something, you feel it, you know?
Yeah.
So I had this class where I had my professor, Elisa Ayoub. She's now the dean of the university of, our school. And I fell in love with this documentary class from the moment I entered that, class. And she was talking about documentary and showing us how you can tell a story through something that is very real and as if you can touch it to that extent, you know. And
what specifically got you in love with documentary? Because I love documentaries too, but for you as Maham, and we'll talk about Sulala. I definitely want to talk about that. But I want to, what was it for you? What was it that the professor said that got you, or what was it that you saw that really resonated?
Yeah. So like we were watching different documentaries and seeing people's stories, but when it's real, for me it was like whoa, I'm a very emotional person, so I get really emotional when I watch something. And I watched this first documentary. It's called 5 Broken Cameras. It's a Palestinian documentary, and I was crying like half of it, and I just felt like how real and how authentic storytelling can be, to a point where it's very raw, as if you're naked, in front of the camera. And that feeling, I always wanted to tell my story somehow, but not through me. And I felt like through people's stories that I'm going to tell a part of my story through their story. And that hit me, I'm like, whoa, I can definitely do that. And that's when I had to pick, a character to do a documentary about. And it was a pitch. It's not like, I pick a character, I do it. No, we're pitching. So I remembered Lana Fahd. She's a contemporary dancer.
Wow.
She was giving a TEDx talk. And for me, I went to the TEDx talk as a, supporting my friend because she was the organizer. So I was just sitting there, and then Lana came in, sat on the floor, and she's telling her story. She's very humble as well. And she was kind of nervous. And I was like, listening to her story, very interesting. And then she started to dance. And then I'm like this, wow, what's this? And because her story that she told reflected the dance and, the ups and downs she went through, her journey. And I was like, whoa. And then I never forgot that, that TEDx talk. So months later, when we were pitching, as the professor said, each one of you has to pick a character. I was like on my phone already because I forgot her name. So I was on my phone searching for her. I found her, and my professor also thought that I'm wasting time on the phone.
Wow.
But I was like looking for her, and I'm like, this is what I wanted to do. I was so determined. I'm like, I want to tell her story. I want to win the pitch. And we had to do a 1-minute documentary before doing the short film. And I did it, and I knew that I'm gonna win. Like, everyone loved Lana's story. And we started working on it, and it was amazing. A life-changing experience, because at that moment I realized that documentaries is what I want to do for the rest of my life. Like, this is what I want to do, documentaries. Yeah. I want to teach documentary. Yeah. I want to make documentaries. Like, I love it. I love the feeling. And with Lana specifically, it was like a healing process for Lana and for myself and for everyone who was on set. As she's talking about her journey, I felt like documentary is not just a film. It's a healing, it's therapy, when you start telling your story and open up. Even in the film, at the end of it, she said that my dream is to get pregnant and have a baby. Like, I really want to get pregnant, but all of the things that she went through. And then a few months later, she got pregnant. I was so happy when I heard that she got pregnant. So it makes you realize, like, where you're at and where you would come one day. And especially, as like a Palestinian filmmaker, I also want to tell Palestinian stories. So Sulala started as a refugee story, And I'm like, I wouldn't say I'm a refugee, because I've had my privilege, and I can't compare myself to actual refugees who've been through so much. But my passport says I'm a Palestinian refugee, so let's say I am. I wanted to tell refugee stories, and this is one of the projects that I really want to work on, like Sulala as a series of documentaries where I start telling refugee stories that are successful. Like everything I told you right now is like, I am who I am despite those things, and not because of them.
So I always feel that all of these people who overcome struggles and are survivors, they are who they are despite of those things, not because of something negative. Never put something negative as a part of you, never. Because it will always haunt you. You always say despite, so let it out, you know. So, yeah.
It's 9 minutes and 43 seconds.
I can't hear you anymore. Bye.
Check, 1, 2. All right, you guys, we are back. These things happen. Buckle up with the one and only Maha Musa, who's somebody who's a filmmaker, somebody who is... Actually, my son is here. Ahmed, come say hi to Maha real quick.
Oh.
Ahmed, you got to say hi. This is Maha.
Hi, Ahmed.
Say hi, Maha. Just say hi, Maha.
Hi, Maha.
Okay.
Man, he's famous now.
Hill.
Everyone loves him.
Okay. Yeah, hill time. Okay. He wants to go over the hill. My son is autistic. I want to take this opportunity to say autism is not a disease. It's a way of life, a way of understanding. And he is part of my life. A lot of times where I'm doing all these buckle ups, he comes in and I just include him and I don't really push him out. So I just wanted to say that. And shout out to autism parents, you know, out there. I see you. Maha, before we were cut off, we were talking about your love for documentary, and of course, you know, you said something interesting. You said Silala. So Silala, you wanted to make it as a series right now? The cover,
Yeah,
I mean, the first.
Yeah, that's the goal. That was the goal when I first started the project. That Silala Silsilat Laja. So it's like a series of a refugee.
Of a refugee. Yeah.
Yeah,
and this
exactly.
one, the one you did about Lana, which was really beautiful. We watched glimpse of it. We'll see glimpse of it right now. So I was saying 9 minutes 43 seconds. That's what I said before we cut. This is how long did it take you when it first kind of finished? How did you feel? Tell us like the whole, you know, emotional journey that you went through on that, you know, short documentary.
You know, when you're doing documentaries and you're telling people stories, you need them to trust you. This is super important.
صح.
So, and with Lana, because she's not the kind of person that talks and says her story. Even in all her interviews, she never said the things that she said to me. So at the beginning, it was very
difficult. That's number one. That means she got comfortable with you, and that is a really very, very important.
Yeah, because she knew and she understood the fact that I'm not doing this as a part of a brand. I'm not doing this to sell. I'm not doing this for my benefit. Like, I genuinely wanted to tell her story, and that's what we, you know, talked about a lot.
Not to interrupt you, Maha, how can people feel that? Because I love what you just said. You're not doing it for clout. You're really doing it 100% to really tell her story. What was it about you that why did she feel that way? How did you pitch to her that I want to talk about you?
Yeah, so you know, I talked to Lana and I told her how much I love her dance, and this is the first thing. Like, we met for coffee and I told her I want to make a film about you. At the beginning, she thought it's like an interview, you know, the typical, you know, TV kind of thing. And I explained to her that no, it's not. It's a part of my senior project, and I want you to be a part of this. And we had a talk, like, you know, back and forth, and she said that there's things that she doesn't want to talk about, and I respect that a lot. But through the journey, like, we did an interview in the beginning. It was 2 hours interview.
Wow.
So when my professor was watching, she told me that you didn't get her yet. You didn't get to her yet. Like, she said, like, and it's a teaching process, you know. Like, you know, she would tell me, my professor, you know, she said this. Why didn't you ask her that? Like, why didn't you get deeper? Why didn't you, you know, corner her in that point?
Wow.
And like, it was a kind of an experiment as well with Lana. And then the second interview I did with her, because I had to redo the interview. And the second interview, I took her to the room and I told her, Lana, listen, I'm not doing this for me. I'm doing this for you because I care about you and I care about your story, and I'm very inspired by you. So it's always to build that, you know, a human connection. Because I'm not doing this for me. I'm not getting any money, and I really love you and I respect you and you inspire me. So let me tell your story. So allow me to tell your story. And if there's anything that you don't want to be in the film, trust me on it. I will not put it. Like, I'm not going to use anything that you don't accept. So that building that trust was, you know, and I told her, like, I kind of get her journey. Me moving from, you know, Lebanon to here wasn't so easy for me. It was like me being stripped away, and I didn't want to come. Like, I didn't want to be here, but I had to be here. And it's same for her. Like, she was stripped, you know, 2 times from Syria to Lebanon, from Lebanon to Dubai, and it's not her choice. So I kind of related to her. And then when we did the second interview, she cracked, and I was, she was crying and I was crying behind the camera.
Wow.
Because I felt it. And even, when my professor was watching, she's also tearing up, and so that's...
the documentary, it's available on actually YouTube, right? Like you can find it on YouTube.
I put it on my website now.
Yeah.
You'll find it on YouTube. And, even in the screening room, when Lana was watching for the first time, she started crying when she saw her dad, and I told her I want footage of everything you shot. She selectively, sent me the ones she wants in the video.
Wow.
And then, she was crying, and everyone was crying, and everyone was like supporting her, and everyone told her how much, that thing where people also feel your work, I always say, even in I did a talk the other day, and I was saying that the connection you have to your work, and then the connection you have with the people, and then your work to the people. So when you're editing, if you're emotional, people will feel it. If you don't care, people will feel it too. So it's what you put into your work. So that's Sulala, and it was an amazing, process. I love everything about it.
Was that officially your first documentary?
Yes, it was the first documentary I direct, but it wasn't the first documentary I worked in. Like, I did a documentary where I shot, Shhuh, the Emirati tribe.
Yeah. Of
So
course.
imagine me shooting that. Like, I was wearing the abaya and like hijab and all covered and shooting. I have to say this. When you're shooting that, I swear my hands were shaking, because the ritual they have, it's just so powerful, and it has so much energy that I was paralyzed. Like, I was shooting, but I was like, whoa, like, wow. Unfortunately, the director, she didn't put it online. It's nowhere, but I love the experience. That's the thing. You experience different things.
It's amazing you say that it's experience, Maha, because not a lot of people maybe take it that way. There's a difference between what you just said and somebody who's just really want to make money out of something and then khalas. Do you think it's wrong or right to get attached to something you're documenting?
To get attached? I think there should be a limit, because when I was editing the documentary, like Sulala, I was so attached to every single detail, every single detail. I didn't want to remove everything. Like, she talked about things, she didn't mind me putting them, like things that are very political, things that are real, I wanted all of that in that film. And then my professor, no, remove this, remove that. And she's like, no, I need to disconnect. You can't be attached to that, piece of work and put everything in it. So once you separate yourself from the director and start thinking logically, and you remove so many things, and that's where you make it very tight and very straight to the point, very effective, very like a proper storyline. And that's what I did. Like, now I don't even remember anything I removed from Sulala at all. And I'm so glad that I got to this point. And you learn it through editing so many things. I let go of. Now you just let go and let the story lead, Yeah.
Oh man, it's crazy. I know I met you 2-3 times. And Maha, I swear I have so much respect for you. The way you're what we call one of our heroes. But again, heroes right now are defined with how many Instagram, followers they have. What were they able to do? I think heroes sometimes, they don't all wear like a, cane or something like that. Everyone is really impacting the world in their own way. And I think, Maha, you are already. So you did this documentary. And okay, right after the documentary khalas pushed and put out, festivals?
Oh yeah.
What?
Oh my God.
Tell me about that, because that's really cool for anyone. But how did it feel like when you knew that, hey, it's actually going to festivals?
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. Like, the thing is, I kept on working on the documentary even after university ended. Like, I'm still working on it, tweaking it, making it perfect, and then applying it to festivals. Also, is sometimes you don't let it get into you because you get a lot of rejections. Like 10 festivals, I would get accepted once, but with Sulala, I got a lot of acceptance. Like, it went to Lebanon, it went to Canada. From Canada, people from Denmark heard about it, and it went to Denmark, which was for me insane. Like, what? Like, you just heard about my film and you're calling me to tell me you want it in your festival? And it went to 15 cities in Denmark, and then to Kuwait. It won an award.
Oh, wow.
So it was a really, for me, surprising, to be honest. Yeah.
After Lana saw the film, what was the first word she told you afterwards? Like, what was her...
She was speechless. She said, I don't know what to say. Like, I'm speechless. Wow. She really didn't know what to say. Now, Lana, as I said, she doesn't like to share much, and she's very shy, and like, you know, she's in her own, you know, world.
I loved it. I really advise everyone of you guys to go definitely watch it. Okay, so after that, what did life present to Maha Musa? What happened after that? You know, kind of phase.
By the way, I'm so sorry. I need to open the door for my sister.
Sure. Please do it. It's okay.
I'm so sorry. She's just gonna realize that I stole her jacket.
That's funny. It's all good. It's all good.
That I forgive you.
It's all good.
So after I've done Sulala, I did another short, which is called Betty Butte. That journey was very, very, very difficult because writing it
explain for people who wouldn't know. I know what Betty Butte is, but for people who don't speak Arabic, what does it mean?
So Betty Butte means role play, and I was actually in a bus when I figured out this is the name of the film. I was like, perfect, because role play for kids.
Ideas come at the weirdest, strangest places, random places, I would say.
Yeah, and then I'm like, Betty Butte or role play for kids is something very innocent, but you know, sometimes it can get in certain cases it can get really bad or like, you know, sexual. So that was the name of the film, and writing it was very difficult because for me, I based it on an inspiration that my friend gave me, and then I was doing some research and I found this letter from a girl who wrote it for her father that molested her. And I'm reading this letter, you know, I was like, whoa! Like, she was telling him on different stages. Was she affected by what he's done? And I took that letter and turned it into a story. Now, the thing is about the story, it's not 100% personal to me. Like, I put some elements from my childhood. Like, I love like the toys and the little things here and there. I put from my childhood, but it wasn't super personal. So it was very difficult to tell a story that is not yours.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's a social, child molestation is just something that really hits me. Like, I can't imagine.
Not a lot of people talk about it as well. This is.
Yeah. Not a lot of people.
But what was it about that gave you also the? I would only use the word courage. To kind of, you know, you're in a, you know, you're in the UAE, Arab region. Maybe this is not even something it's harder here than maybe outside, or it's hard anywhere really, this specific topic.
But it exists, you know, it exists.
It does 100%.
And I know so many stories of people that I know that been through that from family members, and it exists. So for me, it was like, okay, you know what? Now after writing it, I gotta tell the story of so many people. And you know, again, we'll go back to the professor's thing. I had a professor, his name is Fadi Haddad. He accepts any idea, anything. Like, he's helped me and supported me in so many levels to make this film the least complicated and make it so simple. And with his push, and because that class in specific, we had 3 different films that talk about 3 different topics. The first one is you know, like I would say like a gay story.
Okay.
The second one is mine, which is child molestation, and the third one, it was a bit simpler. It was I don't actually remember the story, but it was simple, you know. So, but we had 2 topics that are very controversial. You know, and I was so shocked that they're letting us do this in the school, you know?
Oh, yeah. I'm shocked now to hear that. Like, that's shocked in a good way. Like, this is like something that we need. Like, even whether you agree or disagree right now, it's just not that. I mean, it's a... Wow. Okay.
Exactly. That's where my passion to teaching comes from, because I was surrounded by amazing professors
Mashallah.
that I want to do the same things to other students. I want to be that person that inspires and helps and nurtures, a student. So yeah, it was very difficult to write that story. And then what happened is that it's funny, it did not get picked to be produced. Okay, so we had 4 scripts. Mine was dropped. Okay, and I was fine. Like, it was winter break, and I was okay. It gets dropped. I was relieved that it was dropped, because I'm like, telling the story and doing this film is so difficult. And I was happy. And then my professor emails me one day, like I was chilling in Lebanon, and then he says, "So your film is back up." I'm like, "What?
Oh.
What do you mean?" One girl dropped her story.
Oh.
Yeah. One girl dropped her story, so mine is back up. And I'm like, I freaked out. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I have to film this.
Up. You gotta film it.
Yeah, I gotta film it, and no excuse, nothing. I have to do it because she had like a medical reason, and she dropped her story, and now I have to do mine. And I was very like freaking out, anxiety, everything. But I thought that by the end of the semester, I'll have another film that I direct, and it's going to be an experience, and I'm going to learn, and we're all going to learn. And I decided to change at that point. I'm a perfectionist, okay? So at that point, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to let go of the perfectionist me, and let us allow my group not to hate me, and allow them to make mistakes. So that was like the change in my life there, where I'm a much more accepting and calm person, because when it comes to my work, again, I'm attached, and I don't want anyone to mess up. But that film, I'm like, mess up as much as you want.
Wow.
I'm gonna be supportive. And everyone was shocked. They're like, Maha,
really?
like, how are you accepting? Like, I'll be honest, like, working with me is a bit difficult, because like I care, so much. So, but that semester I learned. Now I'm easygoing. But I learned that semester that I need to let go, and we're learning. Khalas, it's a student project. So during this project,
this is crazy. Yeah. So you actually went ahead and did, and where did you shoot this documentary?
It's not a documentary. It was a fiction. Yeah.
Fiction film. Okay. Where? In Dubai.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wanted it not to look like Dubai, so I made sure everything we choose, like in terms of the location, the characters, everything had to look surreal. That it's in someone's mind, that it's not real. So that was one of the difficulties that we went through, to make something that's not Dubai in Dubai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Did you face any while you were shooting it? What are the challenges that you faced while you're doing it that maybe kind of slow down the process, or maybe at one point, really, shall we continue? This is Well, we had so many difficulties and so many challenges during the film, especially with picking characters, filming it, locations, everything. Every day we have a problem, literally. But one of the things that really messed up the whole thing, but we went back, and we did a good job. That one of the shooting, it was the last day, and I was doing the last scene. And the whole day I was feeling nausea, like I wasn't feeling well. But I thought it's because me and Ahmed had, my brother, we had, Hassan Matar and Aboud. I love cafeteria food. Yeah,
so I'm like,
of course.
I'm like, I'm sure it's,
yeah.
I love cafeteria food. I'm like, of course I had food poison. It happens all the time. With me, it happens all the time. So I'm like, it's food poison, it's fine. So I kept, pushing through the whole, day, saying to everyone, I'm fine. And then suddenly I started having stomach pain. And then suddenly I was on the ground. I couldn't even stand up. Like I was, holding the monitor like this, literally on the ground, and pushing my stomach so I don't have pain.
Wow.
And like holding and directing, telling them what to do. And the actors were worried because they feel you. We can't be going through that and directing, never. So they're so worried about me. And I'm like, don't worry, I'm fine. I'll go to the hospital. And then it got to a point like I was done. I couldn't handle it. And then my cinematographer...
While you were actually shooting, this happened.
Exactly. The cinematographer told me, Maha, trust me, I'll do this. You already directed them. We got this. I'm like, okay. So I was going to the hospital, and then my friend was like, where are you going? I'm like, to the hospital. She's like, I'll take you. I'm like, I'm so used to being alone and doing things on my own. So for me,
God
at that
bless
point,
you, fam.
let's go.
But you got people that love you and of course they'll care about you.
Yeah. I have, by the way, I'll send you a video as well. I have it like my whole crew was with me in the hospital.
Oh wow, yeah, we'll definitely put that. But I mean, it's your call really right now. If this is something that you want to talk about, what did you have? Why was the pain? What was when you got to the hospital? What did they tell you?
So it's something, it is difficult to talk about it, but for me, I got to a point where I feel like awareness is super important when it comes to anything that would harm, a human. So what happened is that I went to the hospital, and I was, they told me that I had like a blood cyst on my ovaries, and it exploded. So I'm like, what? Like, I was alone at that point because it was like 6 a.m. in the morning, and the doctor came and telling me this news. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I didn't even understand what's going on. And she's like, and now you have to go to a surgery right now, but we need the insurance. Yeah, we need the insurance approval. So I had to wait 2 days, no food, nothing, and they had like all this medicine coming into my body. I couldn't move. I was in so much pain. And honestly, I spent the most amazing 2 days with my brother, because he was traveling to Canada and we didn't have time together. And this is where we, bonded so much. So, then
I'm so sorry to hear that. Like the surgery, wow.
Yeah, it was very difficult. Imagine, like I had like one scene to shoot left. It was a flashback in the film. You'll put it there if you want to. And the crew filmed it alone. I told them, I trust you. Just you can do it, because I can't do anything. And the professor understood, so they gave me a break. So I did the surgery and I left. And after it, in my checkup after 20 days, I went to the doctor, and he told me that you're diagnosed with endometriosis. So I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you don't know what you have? I'm like, no, I don't know what I have. Even though I did the surgery, I didn't understand anything they were saying. They were talking a lot, and I'm like, okay, there's so much information. Wow. So he's like, so you have this disease, and that doesn't have a cure, and 1 in 10 women in the world have it, and you have it. And I'm like, I was alone in the hospital, and I started crying because I didn't understand. Like I didn't know. I started doing my research, and I realized that ever since I was 16 years old, or like 17, I had it, but no one knew. I was misdiagnosed so many times.
Oh my God.
And this is something very important for ladies. And, I post about it on my story a lot, but I don't say I have it. Like, I don't want it to define me in any way. It's just...
It never will. Just the fact that you talked about it right now, many people, who will see this and,
I hope they know, like, even if you're a father or a brother or a boyfriend or a husband, it's very important to know about this, because you never know who has it, and it's very important to figure it out, because you will live in so much pain and so much fatigue and anxiety and like so much, and it's important to figure it out before you think it's normal. That's the thing. They think pain is normal. Not normal. Never. Pain is normal. Your body won't let you be in pain if there wasn't something wrong. So that's why I always advise my friends.
When you were diagnosed with that, how did your life change from that point when you were like told?
Yeah, well, I'll be honest, it changed for me a lot, because now you can say my options and finding someone are narrowed. And because I want to be with someone who, despite of everything, like would accept me. And it's not a big deal, by the way. It's just a condition, So for me now, it was first thing, like, am I going to get accepted or not? 2 is, how my family members would feel, and how my family, and we don't talk about it because it's taboo. So that's one thing off the table. And dealing with it is very difficult, because it's a daily thing, It's a daily thing. Sometimes I can't, before I couldn't go on a shoot because I'm tired. Sometimes in the shoot I would collapse, like I'm just in so much pain, sometimes fatigue, I can't work. So it really affects you. But the whole thing is just to not let it be a barrier to anything. And now I feel like I have this mission, you know, to aware other girls. So that's one thing.
Just wanted to retract a bit when you said not accept you. You were talking about society not accepting you?
It's not society, more of you know, like
people you want to be, you know, if you fell in love with somebody and yeah.
Exactly. And for me, the first date, I would say it's like, I don't care. Wow. Like, this is me. Because you know what? If I met someone with a condition where, for example, he can't conceive, for me is not an issue. Like, I don't care. It's not, that doesn't make you who you are. Like,
it doesn't define you, of course. I think this is, but man, I just want to say thank you so much for sharing this with us. I am pretty sure this is not something that easy to talk about. And again, I think, you know, I'm honored. But I think you keep saying it, and you said it, it doesn't define you. Don't let things define you. This is like one of the, I love, I mean, you know, like this is, and obviously going back to, you know, the book, The Alchemist, when you say, if you want something in life, the whole world will kind of, you know,
will conspire to help you achieve it. And you know what I want? I want to get nominated to the Oscars. That's what I want. So
you heard it here first.
You heard it here first, exactly.
Is this
everything I do is like,
I mean, like I said, I just don't. I want to talk about, you know, like what you went through and what you're going through and what you will go through about this. This is something that shouldn't define you. And I hope you have people around you that totally understand that and be that support, you know, because it's something that is very hard to talk about, especially again in the Arab region. Like, it's something even more, you know. But I think it's also, sorry to say, it's also a responsibility and a duty from you to say it in a way, if you're able to, and you're doing it, and I think it will. This changes a lot of, you know, things for women who.
For sure.
Who know they have this, but they're not, you know, they're not comfortable talking about it. So when they see a sister like you, like, hey, I mean, Maha says it, I want to say it too.
Exactly. You shouldn't be ashamed.
No.
It's you know, we said it, you know, God doesn't send you something that you can't bear and you can't handle. Definitely, it's maybe a blessing.
Wow. It's just, Maha Creates. When did Maha Creates start? You know?
Well, Maha Creates started when I was in uni, and I realized I didn't know what content creation is at that point. There wasn't that term anyways. So I was walking with my friend, his name is Muhammad, and he handles Spoon agency, and we were walking and I told him, listen, and then I was like very aware of branding and you know, the power of branding, and I told him, listen, I want to make myself a brand, you need to pick a name for me. And he's like, okay. We're just walking. And he's like, Maha, I don't know what. And he's like, Maha Creates. All right, I like that. And then I changed it completely. So I'm like, that's Maha Creates. And everyone knows me as Maha Creates. So if I call someone and say, hey, I'm Maha, they'll say, Maha who? And I'm like, Maha Creates. Oh, Maha Creates.
That's true.
It happens all the time.
That's true.
My friends call me Creates. On their name, Creates. It's a thing now. It's a brand, and I love building that brand, you know.
Yeah, I mean, we love it too. Just a quick question: when we go and check out your Instagram, which we're seeing right now, there's a lot of, you know, there's me right there with this incredible. I thank you so much for that, you know, short piece that you guys did for me, sarahatan. But we see a lot of your work, right? A lot of your work. We don't maybe see you in it a lot. Is that by purpose? Again, I talk to content creators a lot about that. Like, for example, Baylouni, Mohammed Baylouni, who's a producer. He was posting a lot about other singers and rappers that he works with, but never about him. And I do think that you need to post about you sometimes. Like, show us your face, him maybe as a producer. But for you, is that done? Because there's some incredible pictures. I would show this picture. This is one of my favorite pictures. I'll show it right here. This is the one of Al-Hajj Salah ad-Din, of an old man. It looks like this. I don't know if you,
he's the cutest thing ever. I was walking randomly and I saw him and I'm like, it's so beautiful. I told my friend, do you think I can take a picture? Because I don't want to intrude. He's just sitting. He's just like, looking into nothingness. Like he's just like, so
bless. Yo, that was taken in Lebanon. So 2 questions here. Why not show? Like is that only just Maha Creates kind of account? And what was like the picture that kind of picture? I mean, you've taken a lot of pictures, but maybe you can highlight for us kind of 3 pictures that we can show and talk about. So the first question is, why don't we see a lot of you personally in there? I don't know if there's anything on you there. Are you even there? The whole thing?
No.
You are. You are. I've seen maybe a little bit being interviewed.
A little bit with my brother. When I graduated, I posted the picture.
Yeah.
The thing is, look, I had 2 accounts in the beginning. I had Maha Musa and I had Maha Creates, and then that one was full of my pictures, just for my close friends. And for me, it was, I asked myself, like, before I post anything, like, why? Just the question of why. Why do I want to post this? Like, before anything, even a story, sometimes I overthink it. So for me, it was all about, like, the whole thing is just about my work. It was never about me, And even I have a lot of arguments with my friends where I don't like to write my name on my work. And they ask me, why do you do that? I'm like, if someone likes it and wants to figure out who did it, they will follow me and they will know me. They will search if it was something brilliant and they want to see who did it. Just like with the film festival, like he watched it, he called me, he contacted me. I didn't have to, So I think it's just about the craft. I never felt like I want to show myself. I know I should, by the way, and I'm planning to little by little start doing.
No. Don't let anyone tell you should what you shouldn't do. But I just think it's kind of interesting because we look at we go to this profile called Maha Creates. Says Palestinian Filmmaker, and then you scroll around, you see the highlights. Wow, mad talent, right? Like you go like, this is crazy. The diversity of it, the things that you're able to do. And I don't think even you covered like, everything, mashallah. There's this picture which I really liked. It's entitled Warmth. I think it was taken in Sheikh Zayed Mosque. I love this picture. I think so. Okay. Maybe you can highlight 2 or 3 pictures for you personally, Maha. Like, again, I'm not saying these are your top favorite pictures. It's like asking me who's your favorite top MCs or rappers. Every day it changes. It's not your top favorite, but it's stuff right now, which is like 5:30 p.m. on a Saturday, June 20th, that you feel that you can talk about.
So I need to remember. I like a lot of my work, but there's for sure some things that are very special to me.
Sure.
Wow. Yeah. Okay, I'll tell you. Definitely. Damn.
It's all good.
To choose is a bit difficult, but definitely there's this picture I took in Serbia. So it's about this girl. So her name is Dunya. Her name is Dunya. And she never saw herself as that she's beautiful. And I'm like, you are gorgeous. And she never thought that she would be taken a picture of. I'm like, every time I look at her, I just see pure beauty in her soul and her features. Everything about her is so gorgeous. So I told her that I want to take pictures of you. And then when I took those pictures and showed something, and that's what I love, by the way. I don't like dealing with professional models. I like shooting people that I see that are beautiful, that they don't even see it in themselves. So that photo shoot was very special to me, and I really love that girl.
I like the fact that you called it escape as well.
Yeah.
Your caption was escape.
I like picking one word. All my captions are almost one word that describes.
Love that. Yeah. Okay, so that's one picture.
That's one picture. The second one is also the same story, actually. Her name is Sophia. So basically, it's the one with the beach.
Okay.
It's called Graze. So basically, this was the first time for me that I work on a mood board and I planned the shoot. And same thing with Sophia. She never saw that she's beautiful, and she's gorgeous. And that's the thing. I'm very expressive. So when I see someone that is beautiful, I tell them, why not? They might think you're crazy. but do it.
Wow.
So that's one of the photos that I absolutely love because it was so natural, and it's her first photo shoot ever. So she never taken pictures before.
I love this one too. Wow.
I love it. There's actually, can I speak about 2 more?
Sure. No, you can speak about how many. Like, I'll give you 5 if you can. Yeah.
Okay. So I really like the one also with Lana. That.
Oh yeah.
It was just. Oof. Wow. It's, that's where.
You know what I like about it? I'll tell you. You're not gonna guess. When you said a movement.
Yeah, a movement. Exactly.
Like not movement.
Yeah.
One letter.
Yeah. A movement.
It was okay.
Exactly.
Beautiful. I love it.
So, yeah, like a movement. So I felt like her movement is like a movement. Like
yes. Yeah.
Like a change.
You're getting philosophical right here on Buckle Up, ladies and gentlemen. Labis Wallah Rahiba. I love it. Love this one.
And I'll show you the picture that kind of changed everything for me. So there's this picture I took of my friend. It's at the bottom. It's called Sukoon. I call it Sukoon. It's
Sukoon.
A picture I took of my friend. So we were randomly experimenting in the desert with different elements, with like fire and stuff. And then I was just putting my camera, and he stood in front of his car, and I'm like, "Yo, don't move." He's like, "What?" I'm like, "There's this amazing shot." I was so excited. So I put the camera, and before shooting, I took like 1 minute. I was just looking at it. I didn't shoot it. I didn't press take. I didn't press. I'm just looking, and I'm like, "Wow, it's just a beautiful photo." And he's like, "Are we done? Are you done?" And he's just standing. I'm like, No, I'm not done. And then it's like, 2 more minutes. Please let me just look at this beauty picture. So I took the photo, and it was literally the start of me shooting photography in a very different way. It changed a lot of things for me. And then it got accepted to Sheikh Manal Young Artist Award, and it was put in City Walk for like a few days. Yeah, I didn't win, but just getting there was like
congratulations.
Amazing.
Yeah, to Maha Musa, whose artwork Sukoon got shortlisted for the Sheikh Manal Young Artist Award 2016 exhibition, which aims to encourage, recognize, and promote emerging talents from the UAE. Wow, this was amazing. Yeah, Ukhti, Inti, you are. This is crazy. This happened in 16?
Oh yeah, long time ago. Well, I was in school. I was shocked that I got accepted, and then it's so funny that I called my friend. I told him, it's the same guy. I'm like, give me the size of the artwork, and he told me I don't know what size, like just a random size. I'm like, okay. When I went and printed it, it was a huge photo. It was like too much.
Maha, what do you see in the picture? Okay, despite it's being, why Sukoon? Which means kind of tranquility, not tranquility. Sukoon, silence in a way, like it's a not even silence. It's
like I don't know how to explain it
in English.
But I tell you what I can understand.
You were in the desert, and this is the
this is the light of the car.
The light of the car. Yeah.
Some people thought it's the moon.
I thought it's the moon. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then it gave him this silhouette, and it felt like he's I don't know, and he was wearing the kufiye, so it felt like like a rebel again. So what I saw about the photo, I'm like, it feels like a person who's dark from the inside and white from the outside.
Wow.
Like someone who's dark but shows a peace. That's my own interpretation of the photo, and that's what I saw. Sometimes you're white from the inside, but you're black from the outside because you're defensive. You wanna.
Do you like to caption your photos?
Yeah.
Do you think it makes a difference? Because some people don't, like, they just simply leave it for interpretation. But I think it plays a big role in how you want the viewer to be diverted. Like if I look at something and then you write something, I see it. Yeah.
Now, I believe in the power of words. There's one thing I want to talk about that I've been thinking about for the past few days, how words are so powerful. Sometimes you could say something to someone and you never know how it could affect them positively or negatively. True. And you just say it, and then you say, for example, you say, "You're ugly." And then you say, I'm joking. You think that person will think about your, I'm joking? No. You know, that's the power of words. People don't realize that when they say something to someone or comment or say something hateful, that it stuck in your mind.
I totally agree, fam. I think maybe we remember, we might forget it, but we'll never forget how we felt.
Exactly.
That's something I've experienced for sure. Like
that's
when I got called a kafir, the first day when I was actually hosted the show, I never forget how it felt, but it kind of pushed me to kind of prove, you know, my thing. And that happened in 2011. And alhamdulillah, look at I am right now. I moved forward behind it. I put it behind me, but I never forget the feeling of how it made me feel. And it was something I read. But I think what you talked about right now is very powerful, Maha, because right now with this age, with this phone, I can simply hate on anything, love anything, and it's very simple. I would write a hateful comment, and then I'll go run. You know what I mean? It's very, or play PS, or eat. Khalas, you just throw it out, and then as if it's not going to affect the world, and then we have that thinking, and it's a problem, and it's something we all have to learn of. Like I included sometimes as well. I think we should really be aware of what are the things we say, and that's why the best thing to do, maybe sometimes, I'm going to be very honest with everything that's going on right now, maybe silence is like it's something that you should do sometimes. I'm not saying all the time.
Yeah, in Sulala, I put a verse from a Sufi poem that says دقت العبارة, and I go by this so much. Like sometimes you can't speak because you're so speechless. There's nothing you could say that would fix it, you know? So دقت العبارة is a sentence that for me is just so powerful, and I used it in my film. Like she said the verse, the whole verse, and then she said دقت العبارة in Lana's voice. Because it's true, like sometimes just stay silent, it's better than
sometimes. I mean, of course, sometimes. I really want to thank you for all your time. I just want to, before we go to questions and stuff like that, because we have a few questions from your friends, your people that follow you. Where are you now, Maha Musa? Where now? Like what's going on now? After everything that you've told us, the journey of Maha, how she became Maha Creates, a person who wasn't really passionate about, filmmaking, content creating, but fell in love with it because of 1, 2, 3, and you gotta, see that why. 1, 2, 3 challenges, 5, 6, 7, 8 life, 9, 10, 11, you move forward. It's crazy things that you've been through, and it's so kind of crazy from me right here in a span of 1 hour or 2 to sit down and kind of, you can't sum it up, but you were so graceful and so classy in talking about the things that you went through. And I really, really appreciate it. It's the stories of people that we need to hear. So after all this right now, and things, more things even, where are you now?
Well, that's a very important question. Well, now I'm working in an agency. I have a full-time job as a video content creator, but this is for me just like just a phase or a stop. But where I am really now working on is going back to education and completing my master's. I'll be honest, like sometimes you get rejections in your life, and I did get rejected from one of my dream universities to go to because I can't afford it. Obviously, I need a scholarship. But then I realized, you know what? I'm not going to wait for a scholarship. I'm going to do all the dirty work. That's what I do right now. I do a lot of things I don't want to do just because to lead me towards, being able to pay for my master's. And that's like everything. All my energy is going towards that.
Where is it that you want to go, if you don't mind, like sharing?
Where I wanted to go and I didn't get accepted. I wanted to go to Doc Nomads. It's a documentary series, documentary master's program that happens in 3 cities, Lisbon, Budapest, and Brussels. Wow. So it's like 3 different universities. The experience is amazing. I would end up by different films, and I worked really hard on the application form and everything, and they don't tell you why you didn't get accepted, but I'm 100% sure that there's a lot of talented people out there, and maybe it's for the best. I don't know. So now I'm exploring my options and seeing different universities, and now I'm gonna apply for Royal Holloway in London. Wow. So I don't know if I'm going to get accepted or not. I'm almost done with my application, but that's where I see myself. I don't see myself here. I want to travel.
You said something about teaching? Like you want to... You
My
want to teach?
dream. Yeah. I can't stand one day in an agency. I mean, with all the love for, because I know they're gonna watch this.
Yeah.
All the love
Oh,
for
bless. I
job
mean, up to
have,
them.
you know,
Of course.
it's much better than any other agency that I would work with. But I can't do this. My energy and my creative brain like can't handle being in a job that is 9 to 6, where I'm doing work that is the clients that I don't like, not my own work. That's why, you know, it's very important to have something on the side.
True.
That's why I have Maha Creates. That's why, otherwise I would lose my mind. So teaching, I feel like I want to teach. And
why teaching though? Because, you know, like, you know, there's a hadith, يعني, you know, قم للمعلم وفه التبجيل كاد المعلم أن يكون رسولا. You can kind of give credit and respect to the teacher. A teacher, you know, nearly is a prophet. Like, that's how strong it is. It's so strong. I mean, I think a lot of people, but that's also a different topic, fam. I think our teachers need to also be taken care of, if I may say.
True.
There's a lot of teachers that are, you know, they under so much pressure, and they're human beings. They have to also provide, and this is where a teacher kind of lose it, and this is where it's important. I love the fact that you want to teach, but say you're a teacher now, like what?
I would hug my students. I'm sure I want them to see this. By the way, I love you even before I meet you. Like, okay, I'll tell you something. Speaking of whatever, like what you were just saying. Okay, the thing is, I'm kind of, I wouldn't say I'm a miracle baby, but kind of I am. Like, I came into this world and I wasn't meant to be born, and I made it. Okay, so that really sticks in my head, that I feel like I'm made for a purpose. Okay, now throughout this whole life, like, I'm just thinking that I'm made for a purpose. I'm made for something. And little by little, I discovered that I want to teach because I want to give back. Like, I want to, even if I'm not maybe teaching documentary, like on the side, like I want to help students. I want to help teenagers. I want to help. If they're having a problem, they would come to my office, you know, and I would talk to them about it, inspire them, motivate them to be the best. Because what's left from Maha is the next generation. Like, what's the next generation is going to offer? Because once I do my film and do this and do that, like, what's next? It's the next generation that is coming.
You just said, you said something. I think, you know how difficult it is for anyone to find their purpose? Anyone, regardless of what. So the fact that you know it right now, and this is what you want, I think so this is what you really want. You want to become a teacher to give back. Okay. I
want to teach, and on the side, I will be like, I want a chill job. I'll be honest. Like, I know it's not chill, but like, I want a job where I can focus on teaching, and then on the side, I would.
You already love it, you know. But subhanAllah, I really wish you all the best with this, Maha. I think that, you know, maybe a few years down the line, you look back at this like, hey, that's teacher right there. Let's get this big house here to speak about. I mean, you know, blessings to you, fam. Let's go for some questions, and then I'll leave like last words for you. Okay, so these are some questions that I've received. You know, you kindly reposted it, you know, from your page. Okay, this is from Linda Shami, and you know, she's mashallah someone who's also amazing, and we've had her on the show.
I love that episode.
So Linda's asking, how can you bring the best out of your client while shooting, especially the shy type? You touched a little bit upon that, but I mean, these questions could be diverse. Maybe you can tell Linda something about that. Like, how can you bring the best out of
it's a two-way thing, which I mentioned before. It's all about trust. You know, if your clients trust you and you trust them and you believe in them as much as they believe in your craft, you will create magic. So I think trust is the most important. And when I deal with my own clients, like not in my job, like my own clients, they come for me and they know who I am before, and they know my work. So they have a certain expectation. So you know, and that's why for me it's all about respect and trust and working together. And I mainly like get the projects that I know I want to work on, and I feel like I can give it my all. Sometimes I would refuse like a project that I feel I can't put my all in.
I would also add, I think, you know, even from a corporate perspective, you know, even if you do a little bit of research, you know, talk to them about it. Like you said, Maha, I think it's important. Thank you for answering that. Okay, Farah Asayir. She's asking tips for sound recording for a YouTube channel. What is the best way to do it low cost?
Cute. I think that's something you can answer, by the way. You're using the mic.
I mean, very interesting. See how she flipped it over to me right here. Okay, that's nice. Flipping it over. I think, what do you use? Flipping it back to you.
I don't do YouTube. That's the thing. I don't do YouTube videos, but I know, like, for example, like if you're on a budget, like a Rode mic can be affordable and actually good. I've seen a lot of YouTubers that I dealt with before use a Rode mic.
So, I mean, you want the honest. I'll answer Farah really honestly. Wallahi, it doesn't matter. I'll be honest with you. I remember Bassem Youssef doing content from his room where he can yunshir al-ghasil. You know what I mean? And I think he used a mic from the phone. And for me, I'm more of a content guy. And then, subhanAllah, things go forward. But sorry not to answer your question technically, Farah, but I think, like Maha said, a Rode mic, this mic that I'm using is Sonos, I forgot the name, or whatever it's how it's pronounced. But it was like, also something affordable. But, we'll definitely try to hit you up with that. Okay, we have another question here from Salamiyo. I know Salam.
Okay.
Yeah. What does your camera and your equipment look like?
Oh my God! Like,
secrets
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what does he mean by look like?
Yeah, that's Yeah, he asked actually 2 more questions. So let's see. I mean, I don't know. What does your camera and equipment? I think he's like, what do you use? What are you currently using?
Exactly. So for my personal things, I use like my go-to. I'll say my go-to gig like equipment when I go for a gig.
Okay.
All right. So I would have my Canon 5D. I would have my Xeon or Ronin S. I would have 3 different lenses, very essential, which are the 70-200, 24-70, and 16-35. And sometimes I would have the 50 with me, depends. So like that's what I have. And if there's sound, I would add sound. But I mean, it's basic. This is how it can get with like some filters, some add-ons. But this is like what I take with me on a personal shoot. That's mine.
Okay. Yeah. He also asked, as a video editor, whose work do you admire? Maybe you can, share a few people that you admire, like somebody that you personally admire, or do you look at people that inspire you, like in that, kind of field?
Okay, I'll be very honest. In terms of editing, I am very basic. Not in the skill, but I know how to do the, the zoom in, zoom out, all that crazy shit. I know how to do them, but I don't do them. Like for me, I like because I'm coming from a documentary background. I like something that are subtle and takes their time. Yeah. So for me, but an editor that I really like, there's this guy who we graduated with. His name is Hani Fayed. He's really, really good editor. So a lot of the gigs that I don't want to do, I would like, Hani, you go edit. So I really admire his work. Yeah.
Also, one more question, actually, he asks as well. What would you do if your most important client hated your work? Which is, I think, a very important question in terms of like, okay, how do you act with that? Since you work with also an agency and since you have your own work, how do you deal with that?
Well, when it comes to the agency, I get a lot of, obviously, clients saying, I don't like this edit, we don't like this, we don't like that. Like, I know it happens a lot. So it's all a matter of, accepting it and not taking it personal, because it's not about you, okay? So that's one thing. And working to what they want. So I started putting myself in the client's shoes. So now what I do is understand what they want. And I do it from the beginning. I don't do what I want. Like when it comes to the agency work, like for example, we have this client that likes it very fast, boom, boom, takh, takh, I know this guy, like this client who likes this style. So I would do it from the beginning, Okay. So know your client. It's important to know your client. Know your client. But again, as I said, the clients that come to Maha Creates know Maha Creates.
Yeah. So I think that's important. But yeah, I mean, that's a big difference between Maha Creates or a personal thing and an agency generally, because, it's a very different worlds.
So I just have to talk if there's a client who told me that I don't like your work and that he's very pissed off and stuff. Look, I'm very ethical when it comes to those things. I would either give him his money back. Like if he's not satisfied with the service, I would tell him, want your money back, take it. Like, I don't mind. But definitely we need to talk. That's why pre-production is very important before you start, so you don't mess up. So it's been a while since I had a client that didn't like my work. Like, despite the agency work, we all get rejected all the time. It's on daily basis. Like, I get a client not liking my work, but lately that percentage became very low.
Okay.
Because I know my client.
You know now. I want to talk quickly about something that maybe we didn't discuss before. We did shwaya here, singing.
Oh.
Fam, mashallah. I mean, I love it. I love it when you, like, man, I've seen you perform. What was the group called? What you guys called yourself? Like, it was a nice performance.
Because we're like different. We work in a different sections in the agency, and then we just love singing, and we jam together every now and then. And,
do you do that? Like, do you jam? Actually, you sing? Like,
we jam together.
When was the last time you did, for example?
Me as Maha alone. Yesterday.
Okay.
Yeah,
so who if we open Maha's phone and find out the music that you listen to, what do you listen to? What musicians or artists? Give me like a vibe.
Okay, I'll tell you. Well, basically, it's very random. Okay, I'm a very broad. Like, I don't listen to. Depending on the mood. Yeah. Now, lately, I've been loving to listen to underground artists like Wat Taneen. I'm obsessed with him. Mace, I love her.
Wow.
Like I even KK.
Just interviewed you yesterday. Really, really cool.
I love her. For example, Michelle. I listen to Michelle. She's all over my. All her songs are on my playlist. So lately, I've been going into the underground more. But when I wanna get inspired, I love listening to. I don't know if his name is Lodovico or Lodovico. You know
Lodovico.
He came to Dubai and he did a concert. It's very classic. It's just opera gets to me. Like,
wow.
I love it. It just gets to my, veins.
Wow, I didn't see that coming. That's so cool.
Yeah, most of it, and I love Fairuz, obviously. I mean, everyone listens to Fairuz.
What's your favorite Fairuz song?
I know Shadi.
I know Shadi.
Exactly. Like, I'm trying to remember the first song I sang. I used to sing before in a choir in school. Like when I was very tiny, before they told me that you're a girl and you can't sing, and your dad would like go crazy. I stopped practicing and I stopped singing because of the environment and society didn't even allow it.
Wow, it's Wow, Palestine. What? I mean. I was actually telling Mace the same thing yesterday. We were talking. Obviously, I believe she lives in Akka, and it's different living there than living in like Haifa or living in Quds or. And she did actually. Wow, she did say. I actually mentioned you because you had a question and we answered your question. So subhanallah, she answered it. Yeah, inshallah, the episode will be out. We as a human race, we're not free until Palestine is free. I mean, this is coming from me personally as somebody who got to know about Palestine and what's happening through hip hop. Because in Saudi Arabia, we were somehow kind of dimmed down when it comes to the information that we receive. I was in a local school, not really a lot of things happening. As a Saudi, I was not allowed to go to international school. I started learning English at the age of 17 or 18. Before that, no English whatsoever. And I was put in a position where only hip hop. I learned about Palestine from, artists like Shadia Mansour, Low-Key. These guys opened my mind into Palestine, what's happening on the ground. And then I fell in love with hip hop when I interviewed a band called Ramallah Underground. And they said, كيف حنغني عن الحب وغرام? I want to sing about love and happiness and falling in love and flirting with somebody. And there's a tank outside my door, Hus. Like there's a tank outside my door. I thought that's very powerful to change kind of. So Zubda, what I'm trying to ask is, what does Palestine mean to you?
No, ضاقت العبارة. I'm speechless. Actually, my first film, my first short film that I ever wrote was about Palestine. But I haven't. It's an animation film, and I want to work on it.
Can we see that?
It's just a script. It's not a film. So I wrote the script. It was because we had basically an assignment where even like the professor made a survey. What are the kind of films you wanna film, and what are the topics you wanna talk about? I'm like Palestine.
Wow.
You know, and
I think it would be really beautiful. Again, I don't like to put and push people towards something but it would be really amazing having Maha Creates do something. And I'm sure you're working on something, you know, like, you know, it comes because you are, you know, you are from Palestine, no matter what, you know. I know you were born and raised in Lebanon, but you're, you know.
I know, it's a part of my identity. It's a part of who I am. Palestine is a part of who I am. I'll be honest, like growing up, I didn't have a lot of people around me tell me stories and tell me things. But like my dad was born and raised in a refugee camp. My mom, like even she was also born and raised in a refugee camp. She was actually the first, I'm not sure if the first or one of the first women in the refugee camp to be educated and go to college. Wow. Which kind of very like inspired me a lot. And and I hear stories about like my grandpa used to be the person that gets people from Palestine to Lebanon, and that's how he met my grandma. It's like a very like what? Wow. So he was on a duty and he saw her and he fell in love with her. That's how they got married. And I hear a lot of stories here and there, but I there's nothing that would make me feel what they're feeling, you know, like, and never, whatever they're feeling inside is just.
Do you think you're ready to go to that extent where the politics comes part of Maha Creates, or you want to shoot something more human? Because, you know, we call it in hip hop politics. Like, it's just, you know, it's a dirty game, you know, and it's, you know, it's a game that costed millions of people their lives and dislocated, you know, families, separation, oppression. But do you think you want to get into that?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it is political. They've made it political. You know, it is a human story in the beginning, but you know, with all the like, apartheid and everything that's happening and the injustice happening, you can't. It is political, and I think if we want to solve it in a human, you know, human to human, it's not going to work because we're already way past that, way past dealing with it as just a human story. It's definitely a political and a human story together. So definitely, I would like if one day I would want to make a film about Palestine, definitely politics would be a part of it. Although I really don't like to speak politics, but this is it.
It is through it, yeah. Yeah. Well, حديث معاكي لا يمل, like we say, like you are just incredible and amazing, I think. And I just want to, again, and for the third and fourth time, I want to say thank you for bringing us into your world. There's a lot of people that, you know, Maha Creates only post this and that, but now getting to know your story, how'd you start, and what was the difficulties you faced, Maha, you are definitely an inspiration, and you're somebody that, you know, again, I want to say thank you for bringing me into your life by that short segment that you did. You know, you don't understand. People are still sharing it till now. Like, it's crazy, you know, like that was like a year ago.
Because you're amazing. Like, honestly, really thank you for even considering me one, two, listening to me and listening. Like, now it's, I don't know, it's 2 hours.
Couple hours, yeah. It's crazy. I mean, you know, and I don't think I'll remove any second of it. I think it was really something really. I personally learned a lot, you know. I always say this in my buckle ups. إن الإنسان الذي لا أثر له لا حياة له. It's an old Bedouin saying that El Cid actually wrote in Jeddah, and I was with him. I was there, you know. Basically, it means in English, a person with no impact has no life. So, fam, guess what? You've impacted many people through your work. And this is why it's important. And you still want to plan to impact people by being a teacher. So the journey doesn't stop. It doesn't end here. And, you know, I personally think it hasn't even started maybe sometimes, you know, like, so I just think that, no, seriously, you are just very, you're a force, you know. I want to leave the kind of last 2 minutes. The last 2 minutes are who are the people you want to shout out in your life to say thank you, for believing in you, for seeing something. I mean, you shouted out your teachers, your family. If there's some people that saw something in you when no one did.
Yeah, there's a huge list for sure. I can mention them all. Well, starting like what you just said, like my brother always tells me like you're a success story in the making. And I thought about telling my story so many times, but I'm like maybe not yet. But now I wanna, with you telling my story was like super special because it's you, honestly, because it's you, because you care. And
of course,
I love and telling my story.
You got no brain if you don't love this woman, man. Like I'm just saying, like seriously, I'm serious. كل واحد فينا, every one of us has, things that we went through, but it's something that right now that you spoke about. But yeah. Blessings.
So I want to shout out definitely my family, my siblings, definitely my friends. Like I have my best friend. He's been with me throughout this whole journey. His name is Mohammed Farashi Sukoon. Rawad, he's my friend and manager right now. He's just like he saw something also in me, and even Socialize as an agency, like they're so supportive.
Shout out to Socialize, yeah.
They're a family, So I would definitely shout out to them. I don't want to miss at anyone really, but in my journey, and like honestly, the biggest thing is my professor Elisa. Like honestly, she used to call me a rebel, and I looked at her. I'm like, "Why are you calling me that?" And she's
rebel.
Like,
I'm a rebel in my own right. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it's.
She literally, and she keeps on following up with me now, like about the universities I want to go to. Like she never misses anything, and I love that about her. And honestly, like a lot of my journey goes back to her class and the things that she gave me, and even being a teacher, I want to be that kind of teacher.
SubhanAllah. See, she impacted you, and now you're impacting other people. So
I hope so.
You will impact other people.
Hopefully, inshallah, I hope to inspire.
I've already taken so much of your time. Any last words you'd like to say, Maha? And please follow her. This is her account, Maha Creates. I already know that it's going to be here. She is just incredible. Any last words? Anything you'd like to say? However random it is.
Well, if someone watched this 2 hours talk and reached this point, like,
thank you.
Thank you. But I would definitely say to all the creatives out there that we need to, I always say this every time, like we need to support each other and be, because it's not a competition. Every one of us has his own goals, his own, style, his own everything. So be true to you, and always follow your passion, and don't look at what people are doing or what they want to do. Just focus on you, and this is how you succeed when you in a competition with yourself. I'm in a competition with me last year, and that's how I go by my life, basically. And I hope other people do the same.
That's beautiful. Before I let you go, one last thing that people don't know about you, something not a lot of people know about Maha Creates. I mean, we talked about a lot of those things, right? But something that, maybe something that you do that will shock people.
Oh, wow. Other than my love for ملوخية.
Oh.
I love ملوخية so much.
Okay. I love it. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of something.
Okay.
Well, I don't know if there's something that is very, that they don't know. That people don't know.
That's super dope.
I think I said everything. Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like when I asked that question, I was like, hey, she probably said everything to you, bro. Like everything, a lot of people know.
What do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want?
Oh, man. No, I actually had a couple of questions here, like your favorite kind of films that you advise us to go watch from a filmmaking perspective. Because I'm always interested to, and we'll put the posters of these films. If you have, like a 3 that you recommend watching for somebody who wants to become a filmmaker.
Interesting. Wow. Like I would definitely recommend starting with like any film for Hitchcock, because that's like the school of filmmaking. Yeah. And then, for example, I love Wes Anderson and all his movies. So like maybe The Grand Budapest could be definitely like even Parasite. I love this film.
Okay.
It's on the top of my favorites. Parasite. I love this film. It shows how it's just so well done, and it's so amazing, the craft, and it has a lot of social issues, which I love. I love Nadine Labaki and her films.
I was going to say that.
Watch.
Have you ever met Nadine?
Yeah, I met her and I asked her a question, and I asked her like, How do you separate between Nadine the human and then Nadine the director when you're doing films that are so close to you?
Yeah.
She said, I don't separate.
And you said that. You realize you said that? I asked you somehow a similar question, and you said, yeah, there's no...
I love her. I'm very inspired by Nadine Labki and her films, and even as a woman, you know, in Lebanon, she made the film industry work. And definitely, like, there's also a Palestinian filmmaker. Her name is Annie Marie. She did a film called Wajib. An amazing film. I love those films that are very simple and shows you the lifestyle, you know, of Palestinians and even Arabs. It's an amazing film. I love it so much.
Is it online? Can we see that documentary?
I'm not sure if it's online, but I watched it in a film festival.
Wow,
so
definitely check it out.
A lot of film festivals.
See, subhanAllah, we keep talking, but man, oh man, listen, 2 hours plus with Maha Creates, Maha Musa, an incredible human being, somebody with a lot of goals, a lot of passion. Support the sister. Please like and subscribe, you guys. This is going to be out on YouTube and all other, you know, podcast platforms. Peace and love, and assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you, Maha.
Thank you.